Episode 544 of the TV Dudes, recorded June 20th, 2025. United Crimedom.
Yeah, this week we dive into AcornTV, Agatha Christie adaptations, MobLand, Department Q, and more. It's a BBC crime spree!
You know, the C in BBC actually stands for crime.
To quote Charlie Cale, an American crime solver, bullshit.
You're right, it actually stands for crumpets, which is an old Englishy word for means crime.
That also feels untrue.
Well, where do you think they got the expression "take a bite out of a crime"? Like take a bite out of crime,
Dude, that's McGruff the crime dog.
Who is Scottish.
Fuck. Now that logic is unimpeachable. Shit.
Yeah, look at you, speechless over there.
Right,
I rest my case.
Well, you're Nick,
and you're Les,
and we're the TV Dudes. And you know, a bunch of bloody criminals isn't all.
Isn't what we all
Yes,
watched on the telly this week?
It's not all we watched. But before we head to the diaries, folks, have you heard about Patreon?
Patron?
No, Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's how this podcast happens. Folks can support their favorite podcast. Doesn't have to be this one, but it can be this one.
This one?
Yeah, at a variety of tiers. For just $1 a week, you get twice the TV Dudes episodes. And there's even higher tiers if you want to really show some support.
So much more content. This week, the bonus episode is a review of 28 Years Later, which we heard described as an auteur horror. Is it better than that description? I don't know. Find out with us at patreon.com/tvdudes.
And now we can talk about our other show watching. To the Diaries!
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
To the telejournals.
Telejournals.
Man,
Man, so you don't know what television is. Yeah, never mind, kid.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this week, kept up with The Mortician, which somehow got even crazier.
Sure.
And I don't want it just gets nuttier and nuttier. I don't want to spoil it for folks. Honestly, past the first couple of twists, you should just go watch The Mortician, man. He's a fucking monster. I think it's done now. The end of that interview is insane. I don't think I've ever seen an interviewer have to end something with a guy definitely hinting at wanting to admit to a murder, and the interviewer going, "Hey, stop!
Don't say that to me."
And like he's like, "Well, you know, I mean, I could tell you, but you wouldn't be able to record or tell anybody." And the guy goes, "I don't want to know. Then don't tell me. Just don't tell me."
And so thanks for explaining. There's no upside to me knowing.
It's how, like, whenever somebody asks, like, "Hey man, can you keep a secret?"
Nope.
I've always just like, "Nope, man, I'm not your guy. I'm not your person."
Oh no, terrible
Terrible at that.
Except for the one time I promised my father I would never tell him
Right.
that he slept with Jerry Preston. Like, oh, ha ha!
Right. I've only ever kept one secret in my life, and it was about the murder that my brother committed. Fuck.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a good record while it lasted.
It was a good run. So that's been fucking awesome. Duster has gotten cooler and cooler every episode for me, and really it shows me that the problem I had with Duster was being uncertain what kind of 70s world we were in. Turns out this is not the 70s. This is a fever dream Archer season where he read a bunch of pulp novels and went into a coma. Like, which is cool. It's fine. I just needed to know where we were.
Different than...
Now that I do, man, Duster's a blast. I'm really, really enjoying it. Love this week.
Production delays, I don't think helped that.
No, that show's been in the making for 4 years. People can hear a little bit about that. Interview with Kevin Chamberlain this week, who turned up on Duster again this week. He's the head of the trucking union that they're striking against. Fanny and I watched half of Devil All the Time, which is
So for you, it was only Devil half of the time?
Yes, it is a stacked cast movie, man. Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, Robert Pattinson shows up. Honestly, it's a fucking crazy cast. And that is the most relentlessly sad, yet Forrest Gump, river runs through it, narrated. This is definitely based on a book. It's the weirdest vibe, dude. It is relentlessly dark.
Yeah, you were telling me there's like the depressive elements of it, like all like
Dude, it just every time anybody meets anybody, just think of like the worst way that this human interaction could go, and that's where it goes. But with no other setup or context, like it's just mean every time. And then at an hour in, 2 brand new characters showed up.
Right.
And I paused it and was like, so A, am I supposed to know who the fuck Leroy is yet? Because B, we're an hour in, and C, that's halfway. And we bailed.
So, man, like, I was always told, like, hey, learn the rules of writing so you know how to break them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I think that's a great lesson, but also it implies a thing that I think you shouldn't, like, that all those rules can be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and one of those rules is like, hey, don't introduce any new characters at the third act of your fucking thing. Like,
I'm not saying it's never been done and that you, I mean, you know, the accountant did, like, there's movies that have definitely broken this and you haven't noticed because they did it so well.
Sure. Well, technically, in The Accountant, you've known that character. It was a twist on who they were.
Well, spoilers for our go over to Patreon and hear us talk about a second act character that steals.
Well, even
28 years later.
Eric.
Eric, God,
gone from us too soon.
Where were you?
We barely knew ye.
Then, of course, caught up on a bunch of the Peacock Night Court, which I hadn't watched some of those most recent episodes, and that is, I think, done now, which is sad for me.
Yeah,
obviously not for like a lot of other people, but still,
not for most of the other people that were at best were like Night Court is back on.
Right. Yeah, fair. Anyway, the verdict is in, as they say, in the courts.
Do they?
Yeah, they bang that wooden hammer.
Oh, and
is that the thing?
In Night Court, I just thought they would like, and next one, fucking, let's go.
Right. We got some sex workers to get back on the street here. This is a line from their musical. So,
oh man, a Night Court musical.
Oh yeah,
now we're talking.
It's the most recent episode I watched them do. Richard Kind is the scam artist producer that's going to produce the musical of Dan's memoir. Yeah, which he'll only produce if they can change the theme from being about Dan to being about Abby, because his producer has a daughter that looks like her and wants to be the lead.
Sure.
Or one of his investors has a daughter that wants to be the lead. But Richard Kind just steals it. So the only other thing I think I watched was Poker Face, which we'll talk about in a moment. What else did you get up to?
Well, I watched a Simple Favor sequels. I actually watched those last week, just didn't mention them. But I wanted to watch that sequel, so I just rewatched the first one just to like keep it fresh in my mind. And the sequel is crazy and nuts, and I actually really dug it.
Yeah, it sounded like you were having a blast with the sequel, enough so that I want to go rewatch the first one, which I liked, but just to make sure that I'm caught up on the twisty.
I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen any movie, but you're like, well, how can they do anything with the sequel? There was such a crazy twist in the middle that they can't repeat. And the Simple Favor goes like, well, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Actually, hold my beer 3 times.
Hold my frosé.
And Anna Kendrick just going to meet with a person that's basically tried to kill her in the thing, but also like they're kind of fucked up friends, like they still are. And then Henry Golding is just
you said he almost just gets done dirty, like he's just such a fuckboy.
Well, they pretend in the first movie that he's like he just comes off as like, oh, this fuckboy Henry Golding. I'm like, oh, that was not my read of him in the first movie. It was kind of tragic that he was almost being held hostage by an insane woman, like.
Yeah, they apparently, it seems like you play him as a sap, you were saying.
But, okay, I guess, fuck him for fucking his wife's best friend who you think, who he thinks is dead. Like, because I'm like, well, yeah, a lot of...
He thought he was a widower, right?
Yeah, and also, yeah, a lot of people hook up with their wives' best friend. Like, they're both going through a lot. Like, that's a thing that happens.
I feel like that's got to be, like, in the Family Feud of porn categories, that's got to be in the top 5, right? That's probably not a Family Feud question. Steve Harvey would die if he had to ask that.
Steve Harvey would give you that look. You know the look I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
I've continued my Doctor Who watching.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've finally watched all the Tenet stuff. And at that point, I was like...
There's so much Tenet stuff.
Here's the finale. And right, there's a Christmas special. Okay, there's an Easter special as well.
Okay, there's just a special
special. There's another Christmas special. Okay, the Christmas special is a 2-parter. Wait...
Yeah.
Wait, there's another special like that's just a water war on Mars or whatever. What the fuck?
No, he just won't go away.
I think there was a year without Who.
Seems like
that was just specials or something.
See, it sure seems like when you were looking through the dates in there, I was like, shit, yeah. And then eventually he reincarnates into the eternally goofy Matt Smith.
Matt Smith, yeah.
And man, we did not know how to take Matt Smith when that first happened. Like Smith's where me and like Lisa and I think a lot of American Who watchers picked it up.
Yeah, well, it's 2009, 10-ish, and
You'd been hearing about Tenant Who from like your friends that somehow found a way to watch BBC bullshit for a year or two. But Matt Smith is at least where I actually jumped in.
well, so I was barely into the Tenet things last week before I was watching it. So Tenet came off as a probably like, oh man, this is a much more appealing Doctor almost immediately than Eccleston. I see why everyone loves him. He runs through companions. Like eventually they bring back everybody for that finale of like all of his previous companions, like Jack and Mickey and Rose and like everyone he's hung out with. And the Tenet comes off as like when they need him to be like a fun and like he's kind of being a dick, but he's you're forgiving him because you're having so much fun fun with him. And the only reason that he doesn't come off as sometimes he comes off as inconsistent is not Tenet, it's the writing of like every once in a while they just can't decide, is Doctor Who a benevolent force, and does he hold the sanctity of life? Because some episodes he has a hard no-kill Batman policy of like, I don't kill people, at least not directly. Sometimes I trick them into killing their entire race, but that's not like but he just doesn't straight up kill people. And then all of a sudden sometimes he is a straight up murderer and is cool about it. Like, oh, I'm the Doctor that doesn't give second chances. Which would be fine if we switch that when they regenerate, if they were slightly different. But Tenet is so long that he's slightly different even though he's still Tenet.
And it becomes such that it's very difficult not to weigh all Doctors against Tenet as if he's the base plate.
Yeah.
When that it isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, and
he's just one of fucking
which is not
13.
Yeah, which isn't really that fair. And Matt Smith comes off to me as a little bit more arrogant and kind of a dick. But I was noticing something of like, and it doesn't really matter as far as continuity in Doctor Who. Like I can barely follow what they're doing in the episode as far as like, I'm just gonna have to trust you that whatever you're doing is making sense. I mean, you lock doors via sonic.
Solved. Yeah.
I'll use my sonic screwdriver to lock that door. How? How is sound doing anything
Not
with
if it's
that?
wood.
Oh my god. I can't lock the door. I can't do anything with a sonic screwdriver. It's wood. No, flag on the play. You've definitely done. I've seen you lock a lot of fucking doors.
Right. You're telling me that the doors we locked in like the 1700s weren't wooden?
What are we talking about?
1800s? Whatever.
Yeah. What? No, that's a made up rule. You're fucking with me.
Like my doors now.
And River Song pops up before Tenet regenerates, which I think is a cool idea. That whole idea of like time traveler's wife, like love story, but not linearly. And I always thought that like, I don't like time travel stories. And why I was like, oh, why am I into Who? Oh, it's because it's a time travel story that actually doesn't involve much time travel in a sense. They time travel at the beginning of the episode and then never again in that like.
They don't. Yeah, they use it as a tourist device, but they don't use it. They don't use it to
solve anything.
No.
They use it to get to the problem and then solve the problem. My
headcanon is that is a feature of him being like a bajillion years old.
They have a running continuity, like where the Doctor has a running.
Like I like the idea that if you had a time machine for your generate for like millions of years or whatever, that eventually, like very quickly maybe, but eventually you would get to a point where you're like, oh no, it never even occurs to me to try to use this fucking thing to fix anything like that. Trust me.
Yeah, I tried it.
Like, well, why not? It's a fixed. I don't fucking know, but man, trust me. We can go places. Each
companion having to slowly learn about new stuff is like, I think I really like Martha Jones
because she just
because she gets a lot to do, and she's much more decisive and becomes a badass near the end, and like becomes a doctor, like an actual doctor. And then I feel like they overuse her in the Donna season, in season 4.
Right.
Because they didn't quite use her enough in her own season because they were so focused on Rose.
Right.
Like, Rose is hanging in the background for episodes she's not in, and then she pops back even though she's in that parallel dimension.
So, like, I really like... going back and watching the Rose episodes, like, when you were watching, like, seeing some of those, I forgot how much I really like Rose. Because my overall sense of Rose from the show is that the show couldn't let go of her.
I kind of want to shake not even the doctor, I wanted to shake the show and go, look, dude, get over her.
Right.
Fuck.
Right. Like,
move on.
Also, you made a big deal about the loss, and you can't keep bringing her back.
Yeah, we can't miss you if you're not gone.
Right. Well, and that means that he's letting you go again and again and again.
Yeah, and it's less affecting each time.
Right, right.
Every time he says goodbye to you, it cheapens the...
And consequently, you get more aware of the new companion who is not getting this time.
And so Martha Jones gets much more time to shine in season 4, where she's a badass, but that cuts into Donna's time.
Right.
And then Donna has a whole episode where they shoot back to back, and she has 2 episodes where she's not with the doctor. And the finale of that season is where they bring back everybody. And so I think Donna is a cool companion as far as a Cockney real... You thought Martha was not putting up with stuff. Martha still has a shine for the doctor.
Right.
Which is one of the main criticisms I have with almost every companion I've run into except Donna.
Right.
Which is that Martha is immediately in love with the doctor.
Right.
Everyone is. Like...
Right. And Donna just thinks all of it is like she's your friend that wants to go to the bar, like to day drink.
Now, and then when they're actually running around with Donna, I do like that everyone is assuming like, oh, you and your girlfriend or your wife, like they've never assumed with any other companions, but with Donna, it's the assumption. Funny gag.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
It's consistent.
And honestly,
good.
what you're saying, so I've seen some of the Jodie Whittaker seasons. Or episodes, but not very many of them. Or I think maybe 1 or 2.
Well, hopefully,
but
at least a couple of them aren't in love with her.
She has a gang of companions for the first time, and I'm now hoping that whatever big Who speech reasoning that she gives for why she's taking a group, I'm hoping that like did somebody in the writers' room look back at the weird leapfrog pay it forward, like rob Peter to pay Paul time thing that the companions get and go, if we have the doctor address it, then it's a long-running, beautifully written feature, not a bug. And like I'm really hoping now that like maybe they bake that into like, no, it's not fair. More people can fit in this.
Martha's the only companion that of her own volition stops hanging with the doctor.
Right.
Like, you don't...
No, man, I gotta finish up school.
Yeah, and also you don't look at me the way I look at you, so that's not fair to me, and I can't move on while I'm here with you. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
No, I got my Dua Lipa album and I'm out.
But from what little I've seen of River Song, she's also into him and starts macking on him, even though he met her as a little girl. So like, there's a
right. There's a portion of their relationship where she is just super into a dude that doesn't know her. Right.
She's into her imaginary friend.
Right.
In her mind. I think it's that finale in season 4, I want to say, where they like bring everybody back that has hung out with Tennant,
right,
is really cool, except that I think where everybody ends is condescending and shitty. I think giving Rose a spare doctor is weird, stupid, and cheapens everything.
Right.
Rose was like, okay, so I guess Rose is just in love with a guy that looks like the doctor.
It's not Wonder Woman bad, but it's not entirely great. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, she's in the, like, oh, what I really wanted was a doctor that can age into a human with me, can die, and then can't time travel.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
So you just want David Tennant.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's sort of beautiful in the fact that he doesn't have to be the amazing, but there's a whole element of adventure that you fell in love with that is the doctor.
Like, there's a piece of it, the man you fell in love with, there's a piece of him gone to be this person. That is a different guy you're describing.
Martha, in a previous finale, mentions she's married to a previous guest star, Lucifer. And then in the finale of this one, she's married to Mickey. Like, but when they go to actually that's not the finale of that one. That's when Tennant regenerates.
Okay.
And they go. He goes around. I actually kind of like when he regenerates. He goes on a tour of everyone and looks at and visits them right before I kind of like the fact that Tennant really doesn't want to regennerate.
Right. No, he likes this body.
Eccleston seemed cool to regenerate, and Tennant's really fucking mad about it. He's pissed. And he doesn't think it's fair. But he finds Martha Jones, and she's hanging with Mickey. I'm like, oh, cool. They're teaming up to fight aliens or whatever. It's like, oh, like that's why you married me or whatever. I'm like, oh, because the two black people got married. Sure.
Okay.
Like, it felt first thought, first draft.
Because like Mickey was with Rose, right?
Yeah, Mickey was Rose's boyfriend. I actually glad they brought Mickey back to do some stuff.
Right. Because they kind of yeah.
Although now I'm starting to think
he spent a year technically wanted or suspect in Rose's disappearance.
From what I'm seeing of Rory now, I'm like, geez, maybe Mickey got the better deal. Fucking Rory is just fucking like at every turn is cucked by the Doctor in a way, like from Jump Street of Amy Pond chooses to like, oh, I'll go with the Doctor. Like, I got a thing in the morning though. Can we get back for that?
Right. Oh, sure.
And you realize, like, she's got the wedding ring. I'm like, dude, you were supposed to marry Rory, and he's rightfully pissed. And yet, Amy never gets to even, like, he never gets to be mad at Amy about it.
I don't want to say anything about it.
Oh, I already got to his, well, I'm not sure if it's his end fate, but he got fucking erased. What? That's his thanks for it? Are you fucking kidding me? So his going through all this with the Doctor, and like it gets to be the point of like you're an actor in England, and you're like, oh, do I get to be a companion? Sort of. You're technically a companion, but really you're the boyfriend.
Well, like Rose's mom? No.
Man,
I think there's more, if I remember right. I told you that it's Rory that they had to do a special thing of like, oh no, here's the YouTube video of Rory's dad getting an explanation.
He got fucking like wiped from existence all like time. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And of course it wipes everything from existence but the ring, because I guess time is a dick.
It's Doctor Who,
Wait,
man.
No, the ring must also get wiped out. He never bought it, right? But time is like, yeah, but also that this makes the moon stick like a little bit more. So fuck it. I all in all really enjoyed the Tenet season, but I was getting a little like long in the tooth. Like, dude, is this guy ever gonna regenerate?
Right.
Or get a new companion? He was without a companion for a minute, and that felt wrong.
Right.
Like I did not like that.
No, it actually makes it feel true when they're like, no, you need to be like the couple of people that are like, you need somebody. Dude.
And now I'm starting to regret it, because honestly, Amy Pond is actually pretty great. I actually like her story of her imaginary friend being the Doctor. That's
the girl
pretty
who waited.
cool.
Yeah.
Matt Smith is coming off as a little, the Doctor's always a little condescending, and that's hard to.
No, but he's weirdo. He's a tourist in human stuff. Like all his cute Fez stuff and everything always struck me as like a little more alien. Of like, no man, you're a tourist here. You're the Brits that bring back native tribesmen and put them on museum things.
Tenet had and I think that this is the thing with the Doctor, is that the Doctor has a love-hate relationship with humans. Mm-hmm. Like at one level, he loves everything about us, like our ingenuity. Like, man, 50,000 years from now, you're still cooking because you guys can't give up. Like, wait, why are you here? The reason is basically cause. I love that. Like, oh man, you're a species after my own hearts. Mm-hmm. Like, and but on the other level, he hates the greed and the stuff. I'm like, man, some of the stuff you're talking about is part and parcel.
He also killed his entire own species. So
right, so. Like, who you pot calling the kettle black here? Yeah. But Matt Smith, like I think the risk the other Doctors come into is that Tenet made it to where it was a love-hate relationship that weighed heavier on the love. Like, he was much more like, every once in a while you got a bad human that you gotta fucking deal with because humans can suck. But man, you can be so cool too. And Matt Smith is definitely more on the, I guess you're alright sometimes. You impress me. But also the crack in time is on one level, I appreciate the swing of heavily serialized continuity.
But no, it's weird.
Because who doesn't really do that?
No, but who doesn't really do that?
So I appreciated the swing, but also I don't think it's connecting of like, well, this just feels like a thing we're never getting to now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm just bored waiting for this.
It's just kind of in my way of my episodic adventures. Yeah. Because the point of this is that you have a box that flies around in time, dude.
Yeah. I mean...
In space.
But I got to see the Weeping Angels.
Yup.
Which are really cool. I actually think that's a great concept. Also, great episode without the Doctor. Of him, like, responding back in that, like, the DVD extras.
Yes.
And a great...
That's right.
And a great, like, people that's, like, what's her name, that interacted with the Doctor and, like, met him out of sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The first time she actually physically talks with him is the last time she sees him. And first time for him of like, oh, here, take this. You're going to need this for when we talk later. And it's the only time a human has interacted with a Doctor where like it was kind of special and like,
yeah.
And she's like, oh, this is the first time. This is how you know everything. I instigated this. It almost like it gave her agency back.
Right.
Which is normally not how it works.
Right, right. No, that was cool.
Satarans are hilarious. The fact that they have a so obvious glaringly weakness on their back, so they can always have to face their enemies. Their bravery comes from they never turn away from their enemies, not because of cowardice, it's survival.
They're nearly indestructible from the front, and yeah.
The Daleks get fucking weirder every time they show up.
Every single time, yes.
Like it got to the point where the latest one, the Daleks bring back old Daleks, and they're like, "Oh, you are unpure. Yes, we know, we understand. Kill, eliminate the unpure."
Yep.
And the first thing they do is kill the previous Daleks. Of like, well, that seems inefficient, but
right.
Okay. Tennant, man, he comes off like every once in a while. I liked it better when the Doctor is a fun-loving guy and you really like him, but every once in a while you get a reminder that he's an ethereal, otherworldly fucking god.
Right, because like Sandman's just that all the time.
Yes. Yeah. What was the episode I was watching where he lived a life as a human?
There's the family that wants to eat, that gets the lifespan of whatever they eat, so they just eat really old, like humans with a lot of life left or whatever.
Yes.
And they realize what he is, and that they're going to be immortal.
Yum. Yeah.
And so he tricks them and everything. But his punishment for them is that, well, you said you wanted to live forever.
Cool.
And so he makes one of them, he traps him in time, so that like he's trapped in time, and makes him a scarecrow in a field in England.
Yeah, forever.
Forever. Puts one little girl, if you are ever looking in a mirror and you think you see somebody behind you, that's her.
Yeah,
he traps her in a mirror.
All mirrors.
He stops once a year to look at her. You know he goes to that field.
Yeah, and when it's like, oh my god, he turned her into a Bloody Mary.
I can't remember what he did for the other one, but he's also immortal.
The dad gets chained up and just put into a cement mix.
That's right.
Forever. He kicks the mom into the neutron star or whatever, this is what I liked about it is that, and it's from the start, like, Tennant, like, he gives when he first regenerates, he gives that invading army a chance to leave, and then when the commander tries to betray him, he fucking kicks, like, he hits the thing and drops him off of a cliff and kills that guy. First time I was like, oh, this is a decisive Doctor, he just killed that guy.
Yeah.
No trickery. He killed that guy. Like, I'm the Doctor that doesn't give second chances. And I was like, oh, this is a different Doctor.
Right. But then the storytelling can't really stick with that. Yeah.
Every once in a while they remember that.
Right, but no, there's supposed to be like a big broad 4-quadrant
But then later he's mad at his own clone for killing the Daleks.
Right.
And I was like, what you talking about, man? Like, you've done the same thing, like, a couple times. You've wiped out all Daleks, like, twice. Also, maybe get better at wiping out all Daleks. You seem to miss some.
Keep sucking at it, dude. How do we keep fighting them over and over?
I can't tell if it's good that you're bad at genocide or not.
Right. Like, at the very least, you take it this way. You suck at actually fully eliminating anything, so drop the guilt. You can kill all that. You pruned the Daleks.
But you've done the same thing, if not worse, because that trapping them in time thing, obviously, the least cruel thing would be to kill them.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, all of that is just nightmare fuel. That's some Sandman, you want ideas.
But
shit.
I'm
Speaking of
still
Rory.
I'm still with it. I'm still like into the magical.
Well, I'm
element of
going
it.
to jump back in when you get to the Capaldi regeneration because I haven't seen any of his season really.
Where he gets the glasses, I think. Yeah. His sonic screwdriver is green now. I don't know what the fuck that means. But...
Yeah, who knows? Who can tell these days? Sonic screwdrivers in this economy.
Also, the TARDIS has railings on it now. I'm like, oh man, those would have been helpful. Wave, like everyone's always falling off this fucking
Super
thing.
safe, right?
Like,
there's a pool in there somewhere.
Where? I didn't even know there was other rooms in this.
Oh yeah, no. Every once in a while they'll find there's a pool.
What?
I mean, they don't go there, but like they'll drop things into it. So I guess the last thing to talk about is Poker Face.
Poker Face.
Before we get into our British crime stuff. Poker Face is an American crime stuff that we've been keeping up with. Everybody at home should be watching.
So
this week was Awkwafina and Aliyah Shawkat. And I really enjoyed this one. You had mentioned that it felt similar to John Cho Con Man. This one, she doesn't strike me as a con woman. She strikes me as a serial killer. Because like Shawkat is dangerous and compulsive. Like she just decides she can't lose that apartment.
So here's where I'm gonna like. I've been feeling this throughout the most of this season. I think season 2 of Poker Face is weaker than season 1.
I would agree. I'm still enjoying it more than you, but I would agree it's not as good as season 1. Or solid, I don't think.
One, I feel like it's not good that I feel repeaty with, man, you should have spread the con people out.
I didn't feel like this one repeated the didn't feel like a con.
I feel like the only difference is that her con doesn't make sense. Like I actually
that's why she feels like a serial. They should have spread him out just to not have any similarity.
I'm now going to headcanon her as a serial killer because that tracks. Her con of, oh, I want to marry you so that I get this rent-controlled apartment is not nothing, but also she has warrants out for her arrest.
That's what made me think that, like, no, you're just an insane person who's like Ted Bundy.
Wait a minute. You're going to do a lot of work and kill some people in order to get this apartment that eventually, given how the law works, you will have to flee. Like, someone is, like, eventually around, like, this rent-controlled apartment is you're going to have to give up at some point.
Yeah, and that's why I took her as more of, like, a compulsive serial killer. Like, no, you... On the one hand, you're planning accidents, but you're not seeing that, like, I don't care how much you're trying to pull it off. 3 accidents in a row.
And I think that's definitely a good headcanon that I'm not willing to do anymore. That I'm not having as much fun. Like, to me, I'm like, oh, we're at the point where I'm actually, like, I'm not willing to do work for the show anymore.
Yeah, that episode just did not strike me as work there.
Because...
But I think this show started losing you like 2-3 episodes ago, though.
She's a con woman that like tries to take fruit back.
Right.
Like, she is insane. I won't grant that, but she doesn't sound like we don't know what she went away for time, what she did time for.
It sounded like violent stuff.
She's definitely a violent person, but this felt like a long con for a thing that doesn't quite add up, and also... She got caught short by Awkwafina and any librarians' access to records. Like, although I did like...
The misdirect of thinking that she'd hired Ricardo to go kill... Like, because at first I was like, Awkwafina's the murderer. Jesus, you put that money together to kill her quick.
If you done any time... Wait, if you haven't done any time, what's with all the tattoos? Just like
visual storytelling.
Yeah. Also, that fucking... tenant, like the rent manager or property manager.
Oh yeah, David Allen Greer.
Yeah, he is, man.
And he actually ends up being all right.
Well, I like that.
Even though he's just cheap.
Well, he is cheap, but also he is like, oh wait, they were doing a fucking inheritance scam for rent control and apartment.
Oh no, I would have murdered
them.
That was the best scene in that.
Appreciate your fucking candor here.
And she's like, just to be clear, you didn't kill her. No. But you would have murdered her. Absolutely. Both of those things are true. Okay. That and the fireman plunge off the balcony, I honestly thought was a dream sequence for a second.
Right.
I thought we were going to rewind it back that Shawkat was just like...
Honestly, it was I laughed out loud and I was like, okay, this whole episode was worth it just for the... Okay, so here's how... I bet you're wondering how I figured this out. Well, and then she fucking shoves her up.
Like, why are you sitting on that thing telling her...
And I was like, yes, someone does. I watched a lot of Doctor Who recently too,
right. Where nobody runs forward.
People just stand and listen to people explain stuff a lot when a gun would really solve a lot of problems. But yeah, I do like the Awkwafina running in on her grandmother getting fucking eaten out by Shawkat. Your
Man, and Shawkat just twists that knife every time.
Your grandmother's a sexual creature.
Yes.
So
her endless proclivity for the sensual delights. Oh my God! Stop.
I mean, when someone comes up and quotes poetry at you and is like Shawkat's age, I'm like, okay, the age difference here is, I've probably seen worse, but also, hey. You're keeping it tight, Grandma, but not that tight. Like
my God, you are being poached here.
Come on.
The first time she runs into Charlie and clocks Charlie at the grocery store and clocks her as at least some kind of danger because she calls bullshit on a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Shawkat's first immediate move is is to hit on her.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a nice compulsive trait in a character. Like,
no,
oh my God, you can't. I think that's why I clocked her as a serial killer. Like, you can't not do this.
Yeah, I guess maybe she's supposed to read as Black Widow. Maybe it's because I just watched that Golden Girls episode of like...
Right.
Like, oh no, you're a habitual, like... what do you call... Damn it, I was trying to, like... What is that when a man romances an older...
oh, no, we couldn't... Yeah,
man romances an older woman for her money. A younger man, like... that is a name, damn it.
Gigolo? No.
I forget.
Yeah.
But
Lex Luthor.
I do like it is, to me, I'm like, yeah, it is, at this point, maybe it shouldn't be, but it is funny enough just to flip that and make that a woman.
Right.
And, like, that's funny. But to me, John Cho being a con man that's actually not as good at the con as he thinks he is,
yeah.
was actually funnier.
Right.
Like, to me, I was like, oh, that's really clever, and why he's obsessed with beating her is because he knows he's not quite that.
Right,
he's trying to constantly prove it to himself.
Right. Well, like the main con he's running is that he's the greatest con man in this set of rubes he's put together as his crew.
Right. Like why are you in charge?
Yeah. Like, because he's fooled them all. Yeah.
In this one, I felt like Shawkat. I was like, okay, I believe she's dangerous, but she also comes off as, what is the end goal here? This doesn't feel...
Right. You are not going to end up in this apartment.
No.
Like, there's no world where this works out.
Also, it's another ending where no one really wins. Like, that rich dude comes in to fucking, like, oh, yeah, we're going to make this fucking apartment lit. And, like, I guess the property manager wins.
David Allen Greer wins.
Okay.
Like, what was his last, like, there'll be a broker fee, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's 28 months rent. Like, do I look poor?
Like David Allen Greer, like, yeah.
Yes. Well, the reason she's staying there is because she's
staying in good buddies
thing, which is a fucking... is his thing rent controlled too?
Yeah.
Because it's a
whole building.
Because it's still a fucking apartment in New York,
and no joke, like I keep
it as a tax write-off.
Like, I don't normally feel bad for like a New York landlord, but
that is like a
$640 per apartment. I don't care how many units are in that building.
When she said $640, I wanted to slap her in the face.
There's no world where you're even paying the fucking property tax on that. With that. Like, the mortgage, I'm sure, is long since paid on that building, or it should be. But seriously, like, there's no way that works out. Like, hand to God, somebody's got to be losing. I don't understand how rent control works.
So, for a regular person, I get how that's super appealing. Like, but for someone that is, like, conning and, like, Black Widowing someone, I'm like, wait, why not just do this to a millionaire widow?
Right, why get the rent control department?
Because then you could just buy stuff.
No, just kill anyone you're married to and inherit all of their shit.
Right.
Like, just marry someone with no prenup in a better apartment.
Why do the lowest rent version of this?
That's honestly the weakest part of her. Like, seriously, just marry anybody.
I thought Awkwafina was gonna... At first, I thought, like, the adoption thing wasn't gonna go through, and Awkwafina was gonna be the killer.
Same. That's what I was like, oh, shit.
But I do like the lawyer, too, of, like, so I want to adopt my granddaughter.
Yeah. And he, like, puts it together and, like, Well, let's get
Okay.
that paperwork going then.
And I do like the hey, shut the fuck up, man. Like, what any of what what we're saying illegal? Like, come on, like just don't worry about it then. Yeah. So maybe I'm falling. What we have one episode left.
Maybe I have no idea how many episodes there are. Sounds right.
I think there's supposed to be 10 or something, or maybe there's 11 this time. I'm not sure. But too many have ended where I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't know how to feel about this.
The lack of a through line, I think, is causing there to be a little bit of something missing each episode.
What I thought was a bold swing
To
in
like let her
episode
just
3
yeah.
might have been a mistake.
Right. And honestly, maybe this is the test, like toe in the water of like, can this survive episode to episode?
And yeah.
And I would agree that no, it is better with the through line. It's better with both in combo. And so my vote would be to make something seriously wrong with Steve Buscemi, and that her put together that somehow she's been fooled by this dude.
Ooh.
And and if you do a season 3, have it be the hunt for good buddy.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, I kind of like that.
And that she keeps getting sidetracked by people's bullshit.
Oh, that way she's not being hunted, she's hunting.
But also she can't stay a night in any place without getting caught up in other people's shit.
Right. Well, she's got to keep the trail hot.
Right.
There's always an imperative. Like there's still a. That's pretty good.
That's how I would do it.
You reverse the story engine.
But I don't know what they're gonna do.
No, I like that. I think that works.
But I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump into some British crime.
Yep.
So Nick, I saw earlier you were watching some Layer Cake movie. Mm-hmm. But TV-wise, I thought you had bailed on MobLand. I bailed at episode 2.
I watched all of it. I really like Tom Hardy. And he's in Layer Cake 2. He's so young in that.
Oh my god, he's so young.
And what I realized in
So is Daniel Craig.
What I realized in Layer Cake is that Daniel Craig has charisma and Tom Hardy has presence. I think Tom Hardy actually doesn't have a lot of charisma as an actor. I don't think he has a lot of charm in the fact that making people like him. Mm-hmm. I think what he has is a lot of presence.
That's why he can just be tied to the front of a car in Mad Max and it works.
Right. I don't know how, it's something about his eyes or something where like, he's the dude in the room that you're kind of like, what is your deal?
Right.
Are you pissed? Are you happy? What's your thing? Either way, I think I need to know because you seem dangerous. And I think that's what kept MobLand going for me. That and Pierce Brosnan as this Irish fucking crazy overlord.
I wanted to like Helen Mirren in it more, but
her plan also doesn't make sense.
Character is nuts and just yeah.
Her plan is also stupid.
Yeah.
Like in a way that's even more so than like I'm like, man, Poker Face is 100 times better than this for sure. Like.
And I think one of the things we talked about in 28 Years Later in Patreon is that Danny Boyle maybe lays on a little bit too much style on each piece of toast there.
Yeah.
This is Guy Ritchie minus a lot of style, in my opinion.
Some fucking dry toast. I need a little bit of margarine on this. The lack of... Honestly, I think it's the lack of edits and fast cuts and speed up and slow downs and all that other shit.
Right.
Or multicams or whatever the fuck he's into this decade. I think it's just the fact that he needs more eclectic characters that have screen presence and are memorable in a way that makes me care whether or not they make it at the end.
As mad as I got at fucking Idiot Jimmy in the Gentleman TV show, I still watched all of it. It was a blast.
Mm-hmm. No, and they, Tom Hardy figures it out. Like, he's a fixer for this family that seems to be going down the tube. Mm-hmm. He gets an offer to, like, be a fixer for someone else in an organization that's way up there that seems like a better deal. And he's like, well, you've underestimated my loyalty. And it's not quite clear. I think he's really good friends with the son, Pierce Brosnan's son. What is that actor's name? Damn it.
Yeah, the dad. Yeah.
But
the idiot kid's dad.
The idiot kid's dad, for sure. Who turns out, like, spoiler, hey, that isn't his dad.
Oh, damn. Makes sense. The kid doesn't look a fucking thing like him.
No. And also, like, credit to him, he fucking, like, thank God I'm washing my hands of you You have nothing to do with me, you piece of shit.
Oh, that's great.
Like, he goes to Pierce Brosnan, so I know you fucking sexually assaulted my wife, and that my kid isn't mine. So I'll tell you what, Dad, when you get out of here, because, it'll be a minute, because, I'll get you out of here. You're my dad. Doesn't have to be today, though.
Right.
Like,
but like when you get out of here, he's your fucking problem.
And when we get out of here, things are going to change. And the reason I know you don't know that right now is because you're talking to me the way you're talking to me right now.
That means you still don't understand
and
how
if
things
you
have
knew how the
changed.
way things are going to be, you wouldn't be doing that.
That's great.
And I like his, because he had to overcome the thing early was that he got sexually assaulted when he was in prison by this guard.
Okay.
You watched a little bit of that when I was.
Yes.
And he.
That's right.
And he brings that back too. And so him and his wife, who have been estranged, actually find common ground in their damage.
Damn.
And like, honey, you talk in your sleep. Know what happened to you. Like, you don't have to explain it to me.
That's fucked up. That's really great.
And also, you think I just got a sexual... the reason I'm so mad at my father is that he also did that to me until I was 12 years old.
Damn.
And so they are like... They're ready to burn down the world together as the new king and queen.
Okay.
Like, and I'm like, I'm kind of into this. But Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren are both still kicking around. And the dumb kid.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I was like, okay, so all the problems are still around.
At the end of the season.
That are... They took care of the symptoms in the season. The fucking... The cause, the root disease is still there. I don't know. It felt like it lacked direction and an identity. Which I was shocked that Guy Ritchie was so involved in that production. Because normally I don't... Say what you want about his movies that we even don't like Rock and Rolla. And,
Right.
And they have an identity.
Right.
Like, they have a sense of self.
No. This felt more like we watched Aladdin, and we're like, no, but who did this? This is lifeless.
This is fucking soulless.
Yeah. You also and I also watched Department Q, those separately.
Dept Q.
So I watched the first couple of episodes with Lisa, and then ended up rewatching them with Fanny when she started watching. It was early enough. I was like, yeah, let's just restart it.
Starring the booby himself,
yes,
Matthew Good.
Good as David Tennant in.
When I was seeing him there, I'm like, man, it's hard to tell without all that hair and cocaine up your nose.
Oh man, if he shaved that beard, it would immediately be booby again. In rewatching, the first couple of episodes, I enjoyed it, but I was like, man, I don't quite know where this is going. In rewatching it, I was more ready for the weird amalgam of U.S. serial killer action show, but very UK.
Yeah.
So that, like, it goes along fine, and then something about the set deck of where the serial killer's keeping, or where the kidnapper's keeping this victim, is suddenly kind of goofy, and like all the crayon written names and stuff. And so everyone told there'd be little moments where I'm like, what is this show? In rewatching it, I knew what was coming and was more down for the groove of it. And I ended up really enjoying Department Q. I was really surprised. I actually want there to be a second season of that.
Well, as far as...
because of the team.
The team is, like, well, we were talking about the lack of eclectic character, like characters that you need, and a strong sense of identity. And all these characters have a strong...
Dude, Rose is great.
Yes.
Fucking Akram steals it.
The cop, she even has a great line later of like why she's friends with
Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, why are you so much friends with Matthew Good's character? He doesn't like anybody. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's because you're friends with his partner.
Yeah.
Like you're locked in friends with his partner.
Right. You know him in a way you can't not know him.
So you're not you two aren't exactly friends, but you're
that's I think what I misread in that first episode is like too much animosity there, but like looking back on it, like it's really cool.
Clicked in retrospect.
And her giving him shit about being her mentor.
Well, like in the hospital room,
the nurse mistaking her as Hardy's daughter, and her keeping that joke running and getting him a dad pillow and shit.
You motherfucker.
Like, oh man, yeah.
Well, even in the hospital room, I like that he's like, hey, she just wants your approval, so like maybe every once in a while, against your own fucking instincts,
Right.
give it to her. And like
Akram being like
Akram is the Irgid or whatever from 28
right.
years later. He's to me is the man,
he's the secret sauce that makes the whole show work.
Dude, what's your story, bro?
What did
also
you do
never
in
told me your
Syria?
story, bro.
They can never reveal it. Like,
No.
what did he do in Syria?
No,
I
he
love
did
that
some
at
fucked
one
up
point
stuff in
Matthew Good
Syria.
just stops and like, what did you do in Syria?
So you worked for the cops, and you worked with the cops in Syria, in a sense.
Okay, man, were you good guys or bad guys?
Well, man, if
If you
could
figure out who that is
out,
in
you
Syria,
tell
you
me.
tell me. Yes. Also,
that is a guy.
all the violence he does is hilarious. Even though every time I'm like, this is cop violence. I should not think this is funny.
It reflects back even to the serial killer. Not serial killer, but abductor.
It's really not. I keep calling him that.
Yeah, it just reads so much serial
Obviously,
killery.
spoilers for Department Q. Sorry.
But they're investigating a cold case that's a woman's disappearance,
Yes.
and holy shit, she's still alive.
Right. I love all of Akram's stuff of like, no, I read through all the cases and there's a stack of these that I'm pretty sure are solvable.
Yeah. No. And he's like, oh, you should know that. And he's like, don't you? Like, you read a
And
file.
you get a vibe,
You read
right?
a file and you go like, okay, one more pass like here, one more.
There's 2 or 3 things here that I think we could look into more.
And they're right that like someone like basically said
Yes.
like stop this investigation.
I love that even though you clock by the end of episode 2, you clock what part of this person's past is. Like I had made a guess and was right.
Mm-hmm.
Of where I don't think they're hiding it. I don't think I made a guess that was spectacular. I don't think they're really hiding it from the audience that much. But the missing person, Merritt, her life, she actually has enough enemies that it's not that it gives misdirect for me as a viewer, but I love that it sends the cops down blind paths, and those blind paths cause problems for other. Like I found it really funny that there were like, it's a show where they uncover a bunch of other shit that really isn't tied to what is directly happening to this woman right now. It's just tied to a case she worked, or a dude she thought she knew, or all that, like these other tangential murders that are only kind of tied to it, or crimes. That they just start picking at because they're looking at her. And that it means that when this person vanished, the authorities, like 3 or 4 people were like, well, I mean, I didn't make her vanish, but
also it helps me.
If she's gone, that's fine.
Yeah.
And like everybody's willing to say she fucked off and just ran away. Mm-hmm. Because it helps them.
The main
Somehow
case,
that really made sense
the
to me.
main case she was investigating, I love that they fucked up because they thought they attacked the witness even though they weren't going to use her.
Right. Man, Akram's whole speech in that of like, so I've seen people who've been warned, and I've seen when they skip the warning and just kill somebody.
Yeah, your wounds are like
You were
supposed to be skipped.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
also, man, her line of when the guard at the police at the jail is like, oh no, she was stabbed away, man. If we weren't in prison, I'd swear it was done by a professional.
man, where do you think we send professionals?
Where do you think all the professionals are? Yeah, this show had a lot of fun lines. Rose got off the most, I think I mentioned it last week, got off the most Scottish thing I've ever fucking heard. Ach, will you fuck?
I will you fuck.
And they subtitle it, yeah.
But yeah, the only reason they're doing this is that it's a cold case department that the chief of police seems to just be doing so that she can balloon her own budget.
I love that later on she doesn't really admit it this way, but it's a little, somebody says in one line, just because cold cases aren't technically active duty, that doesn't mean you can just make him a cop again. He's not cleared.
Yeah.
Because he's still supposed to be going through the psych stuff.
Oh, the
I hadn't really put together that like, oh, she was mad about doing this, and then it freed up all this budget, which she just uses for the other department. But I didn't realize that like, no, this is also a loophole way to let him work.
Yeah.
Because he can't investigate his own case, and you can't put him on the street.
No.
Because he almost curb stomps that dude American History X style.
Well, I mean, he does. Like,
That is the creepiest conversation, though. Yeah.
His directly threatens to like sexually assault or get a bunch of guys to sexually
Sell him
assault.
into sexual assault.
Is to his stepkid.
Oh my lord.
But
the whole thing with his stepkid I really thought was going to annoy the piss out of me, and Martin. and I thought it ended up being okay.
Yeah.
Like I could have. It still wasn't my favorite thread of the thing, but him having a kid, I get how it humanized him. I really liked the thing of him not knowing how to handle the kid having been at the hospital bed every day when he was out, like after he'd been shot. I thought that was cool.
It seems like his stepkid. It's not his kid, but it seems that he was with the mom during a formative like growing up thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the stepkid does respect him in some level, if not totally likes him. But they get to a point of like a truce almost, and then the mom plays the message of him like, basically calling him an obligation, but it's just him venting,
right?
And
but still, man,
and it's
it
like
hurts.
Pretty fucking cold.
That's cold though. Yeah.
The hyperbolic chamber
hyperbaric
chamber is
How have I never seen that in a serial?
neat-
That's why I keep thinking serial killer. How have I never seen that in a serial
thing.
killer thing? Because it's for the bins, it's for divers, and realizing in the show that the kids a bit like the show just unfolded nicely. Every episode was like, ooh, that's a cool
There's
deepening.
a whole thing where like a character is actually not who you think they are. Because,
that was rad. That honestly might be the best I've ever seen that pulled.
Right. And like you got to go back and like, wait, just because this character says they're somebody, does that actually track of like, who have they talked to? Like just this one person? Kind of like in The Boys of like, hey, is Jeff Dean Morgan real?
Right.
But not on that level, like.
Or real like he keeps poking holes in the dipshits that are investigating his own shooting. And at one point when he's like, so you say his daughter called in a wellness check. Have we checked to see if that corpse, that man, has a daughter?
Well,
no, he didn't.
it makes sense to me because that shooting, because like that's the instinct that starts off his suspension or whatever, is that they're just responding to a scene and all of a sudden a guy in a mask and a gun comes out and pops.
It's a wild cold open.
It's just like a wild like whoa, and we still don't know the answer to it at the end of this season.
Yeah,
like they're gonna slow walk that throughout, and honestly, it's not a bad mystery, and I can see why it's interesting to see a character that isn't obsessed with knowing that. Mm-hmm. He's putting his obsession into another cold case.
Yes. No, it isn't a whole season of I refuse to not investigate my own crime.
Right. He's doing his best, but also the cops that are they're.
How's it? One of them was like, you can't investigate your own shooting. Can you?
Because they were talking about like, and it made track for me like, well, the killer couldn't have been there to kill them specifically. They weren't even supposed to respond to that call. But that killer was definitely waiting there to kill somebody.
That kid.
So I was like,
I love that.
Well, either he's either just there to kill cops, which there was already a cop there, or it's the other kid there that is from that community, and then that's basically the trail they go down, and oh man, he was top of his class. Although that day he did a pretty good job convincing me he was an idiot.
So why did he go to that? Yeah, man, I really like how each facet. Usually, there's going to be a moment in the detective show in the season where the cops are having to go down a blind alley because fucking investigations go down blind alleys.
Yeah.
But I, as an audience member, am like, oh my god, fucking figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, I kept finding myself going, no, I know that this isn't directly, this actually doesn't get you to merit. But, yeah, man, go shove that dude down some stairs. That's fucking hilarious.
Akram is also a reflection of, he had to come to terms with violence in a violent way and really absorb it as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And he is on the best level you can with it, getting right with it.
Right. But he's this great parallel or reflection of what's going on with Matthew Good, who almost is in almost goes into a blind rage.
He's actually like, oh, I bet you're great with your kids. Also, your kids can never watch what you do.
Right.
They will see you different.
No.
And the kid, the abductee, like he was the one like that's how when you attune to violence as a child, to where you actually don't have a sense of morality. And are confused by it, and just like
man.
Sometimes you just put me in the
his
chamber.
interviews where they're like, no, he has no ill
Wiltor is his mom.
or ill memories about like he doesn't view any of this as bad time.
Right.
Like, holy fuck.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was just nuts.
Awkward, oh, you want me to investigate that thing? Not because, like, he's worried about his own safety. I'm like, well, you do know that I'm, like, not a police officer, and, I mean, I can go do that thing for you, but also, like,
I'm gonna
have to do some stuff.
Right. Do you want me to do that? All right.
So what's this I hear about you crushing somebody's fucking voice box?
No, I bruised
it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to tell you it was crushed.
Bruised, yeah.
Quit being ridiculous.
God, that's silly. I would never. Yeah.
Also, he fell down some stairs.
He fell down some stairs and broke his femur. Yeah. That dude's neighbor coming out and like, will you shut up?
Will you please call your neighbor an
fuck
ambulance?
that cunt.
Fuck that cunt. Okay, it doesn't seem like you're... Okay, man, I tried. It doesn't seem like your neighbors are
Your neighbors
helping
fucking
you at
hate
all.
you, dude.
Okay,
also, I'm listening.
I'm listening. You gotta
that
give
was
me...
awesome.
Also, actually, you should be thankful it's me and not
Mort
my boss.
or whatever. Yeah.
My boss would really be an asshole about this.
Yeah. I hope Department Q gets another season. I really do. I enjoyed it. It's based on a book series. I think like The Department of Lost Causes or something like that is what it's called. Which I love that they never beat it to death. Like they don't ever call it Department Q or make a big joke of it or anything. It's just that they're in the shower quarters. And so like the only letter that's still like fully on the door in paint is the Q. But it's not even like they don't make a huge deal of it.
Dude, it's an abandoned basement. It's
Like
so
there's
gross.
urinals.
It's so gross. Like...
Also, man, at the end of the season, when Hardy finally gets to show up to work and comes in there, and all season I was waiting for it. Mm-hmm. The stair, what the fuck?
Hey, what the fuck?
That was great. So we've had AcornTV for a couple of weeks now, and I grabbed it initially because I'd gotten to talk to Paul Powell at ATX Fest and interviewed him via Zoom for TV Dudes, which is up now. And Paul had created a show for Acorn, which is why he was at ATX Fest, called Art Detectives with Stephen Moyer.
They were a big promoter at ATX Fest this year.
And so I checked out Acorn. It's all like British crime, pulled from like BritBox or BBC or various places.
Sure.
You could just type in Agatha Christie. There's like fucking 6-7 things. It's that kind of place. And so I'd started watching Art Detectives, which dropped 2 episodes and then just had a third come out. I think it comes out Mondays. It is an incredibly charming Sherlock Holmesy kind of cozy of the week, like mystery of the week. Stephen Moyer plays a one-man police department within the British policing departments or whatever, Scotland Yard kind of shit, that investigates art crime and historical stuff. Basically, if a crime happens at a historical location, or involves historical painting or whatever, and that's a lot of shit in the UK. And so, I get why they'd have one dude who is a trained up, badge-carrying cop, but also has a fucking, background in historical, paintings and shit. Mm-hmm. And in the first episode, he doubles his department by bringing on one cop. And so far, what's really charming about it is that it flies in the face of that House Holmes. Well, he's such a bastard, but he's so brilliant.
I think that was the reason it took a couple episodes to get into Department Q, is because Matthew Good is such an irascible fucking dick.
Right, and so I'm watching Department Q while watching this. Of course, this is just week to week, so I couldn't binge through it. But it was yes. So usually we go with the Department Q path. He's brilliant. But God, did people hate him? Do you ever wonder why people think you're an asshole? No.
And it's, man...
And Moyer's character, he is, he's nobody's bestie. If the one person we've met that he has, he has a crush on this curator, and he's just a stammering dipshit when he's around her. I mean, he's not an idiot suddenly, but he's just he has no game. And, but most people don't like him. The regular cops, the local cops, whenever he shows up, fucking hate him.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
And he is smarter than he's a dick, but not in he's not arrogant and mean. The way he doubles his department is just by listening to the girl. She doesn't really know who this dude is and gets stuck with him on the very first episode by her boss, who's a dick, and just a regular cop. Fucking hates Stephen Moyer.
I'm gonna prove you how good of a detective I am. Your boss.
Oh, yes, that's great. And that first episode, yeah. Moyer looks at her, yeah. So are you a very good detective? Well, your boss just said that he left you here to help me, but I know he's a dick.
I got this.
So I got this. And so in the first episode, she goes and tells her boss, yeah, we do have a suspect. We're about to arrest this guy. And her boss takes the glory and arrests the dude like 15 minutes before they can. And Moyer's like, I mean, okay. It's by this point, like already Moyer's sure it's not the dude. And she clocks that and goes to her boss and is like, hey, so I didn't tell you to go arrest that dude. I just caught you up on where the investigation was. It's moved further since then. You have now arrested the wrong guy.
Yeah, you're about to face some blowback on this.
And he does not believe her.
Sure.
And then at the end of the episode, he threatens to demote her because of not coming to tell him that he had the wrong guy. Why didn't you stop me from doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And she looks like, it was really refreshing because she looks at her boss and goes, are you kidding me? I told you exactly, you know what? Other dude actually said I could come work for him.
You know what?
I'm out.
I wasn't even considering that.
Boom, show starts. Because now she's with him. So the second episode was folks find a Viking horde in a field and their jealousy, fucking hilarity ensues. In the third episode, they twisted again in terms of having fun with this trope. A lot of things are historical sites, right?
Sure.
They have it's not Oasis, it's a made-up band for the show, but two brothers who, one of them died on the property of a studio years ago, and then now there's been a murder on the same property, while the remaining band is back for the first time to record again. Moyer could give two shits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Moyer's character couldn't give less of a fuck about any of this. But it is a historical site on the historical registry, and the murder happened in it. And, you have to investigate.
Sure.
And she's like playing the CD on the way there and no, you don't understand. Half the songwriting duo over the band died here, and I can't believe they're recording here again. This is huge. And he's like, I honestly think the murder's more of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And well, okay, obviously, yes. But it's really great to watch him then not bitch about it the entire time. He doesn't care about their band, and he doesn't care about the music. He investigates it just as fucking hardcore as he did the Viking shit or the paintings.
Sure.
And honestly, I didn't realize how tensed up I was for him to be shitting on it the entire time. Like music, well, you stupid, can't believe you kids these days with your obsessions. He bitches a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody's super excited about it, he's very really? Okay.
Sure.
But that is not the gag. In the same way that watching the first episode, I was like, so him being the worst isn't the gag.
Mm-hmm.
Him being very curious is the gag. Cool. And then same here of so he doesn't care about this. But the gag is that he still does his job.
I think we are out of the Sherlock era, and we are now in the era of Ted Lasso,
Dude,
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, even Elsbeth is
no, she's interested in doing it.
No, we are no longer. I think as a society, we are no longer interested in excusing bad behavior because of brilliance.
This is going to sound like a leap, but last Super Bowl when Kendrick Lamar did the halftime show, there was an article afterwards that was basically, thank God we've moved out of it being cool to not try.
Yeah.
You can now do the most. Mm-hmm. You can have your halftime show have 1 million weird symbols built into every dance move and call outs to every cultural, name check 1 billion things, and just expect everyone to have done their fucking homework on it. You can have a 25 movie long, deeply interconnected Marvel universe that people can just rattle off about. Mm-hmm. It's cool again to know things and be a nerd about stuff. And Like, I guarantee half of Tinder is full of is people that are like, tell me your special interest.
I
Nerd
mean,
out. It's hot.
I don't know what could possibly have gone on in the last decade that we would value genuineness again.
Right. I don't know what could it be? Could it
That
be?
we would value a genuine, non-ironic pursuit of skill and happiness.
If any of that sounds like a good formula for a detective show, I'm telling you it is, and I would go get Acorn for a free week at the very least, just to watch.
This chick that I like just does sound fun.
It's just they are not high stakes. Like, it's a nice week to week show to throw on where I enjoy the case and everybody's interested and nice. I'm really digging it. I'm gonna keep AcornTV for a little while, mostly just to watch that.
Sure.
But I've also been tearing through a bunch of Agatha Christie stuff. I'll talk about a couple real quick. Lisa and I watched an adaptation of And Then There Were None, which
that's a fun one. I don't think I watched the version you watched, but
we'd watched like a 70s one a couple of weeks ago, movie that was kind of a terrible adaptation.
You know, I did a movie tear of assassins in one location. And I do like the idea of murders in one location, but it's a mystery thing.
And And Then There Were None is like the cluish one. It famously has the misdirect of like one of them is a fake death, and like spoilers for a fucking 30s novel that's been adapted a billion times. This version was a 3-part, like 3 hours, so like 1 hour episodes with Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister, and Sam Neill's in it. Bern Gorman, the Gulf Western head in The
weirdo,
Offer. It's both slow and a blast. Like, it's slow. It takes its time to get through this, what could just be a movie. But in doing so, it gets to lean into a couple of things that don't really jump out to me in all the adaptations I've ever seen of this. Which is that, like, in the first episode, you get a vibe for how much fucking work went in to having a murder weekend. There's a bunch of dumb prep, a bunch of dumb prep. And usually that is rushed through the credits in like a montage, and it feels like you set up a murder weekend, like the doorbell rang and you were like, fuck, scrape all the laundry under the couch. It's murder weekend. And like, no, this is a lot of work. Like there's like a little shot of a guy in a recording booth, and he's like, so this is for a commercial or a stage play? Will I be credited in the playbill? Okay, I'll read it.
So
and he starts reading the indictment list.
There's an opposite of, like, we think the opposite of Sherlock Holmes, the detective, is Moriarty, but for crime. I like the idea of, hey, someone went out and solved all the murder cases, just didn't tell anyone, and got enough of them solved.
And that's exactly
and decided to throw you all into a room and just put all that evidence. Like, it's the Dexter of, like, here's my vengeance upon you, of like, I'm not going to solve this crime every week and then show you until the cops like come like, ha, arrest him, my man. I'm like, I'm just going to put a bunch of the most dangerous fucking people that have every reason to kill each other in a fucking room together.
So the other thing that it does that I thought was cool, it gives a lot of time of what is happening to these people on the, like, in the first episode, they slowly realize over this dinner party that I've been invited to a dinner party and this seems, what is happening here?
Yeah, what's
and
up?
Then the record then the indictment goes off, and they all have their various moments of like, well, I didn't do that. I don't even know who that person is. Like, one guy just admits it, like, I did that, absolutely. Like, there's some hilarious.
Yeah, the one that like committed war crimes.
Right,
or some
like
shit.
Killed a whole village. Oh yeah, I figured somebody talked.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I did that.
Nah.
But I love that he's like, so either I'm the worst person here, but the only honest one, or. And so the other thing that this gets done is that they're being killed over the course of it, but they're not really being hunted. They're pinned in at a house on an island in the middle of nowhere. They can't see the shore from where they are. Like, light a fire, maybe someone might come here. It is a long weekend of knowing that you don't know who brought you here. They definitely know the murder you committed. And then no more information. So these people go slowly nuts.
Well,
Sam Neill loses his shit.
I can only imagine, because now you're thinking, I have to find whoever got me here, and I have to silence them.
Like, a couple of the people just go get drunk because they're like, I knew this would catch up to me eventually.
Oh, okay.
This is my penance.
Yeah.
Like,
some people give up the ghost immediately.
It's one of the only times in a movie where I've ever had heard a character say the, like, maybe I'm already dead. Maybe this is hell.
Well, it was...
And it actually land. Because, like, no, dude.
No one's going to get this reference, but it's why I like that the Ice-T Assassins movie.
Mean Guns.
Mean Guns. And in Mean Guns, someone halfway through the movie realizes, wait a minute, the moment they put us, like 100 of us in a room together and just dropped guns in, we could have all teamed up and gotten out of here. There's no way we couldn't have overpowered them.
And yet...
and it was like, and then everyone else around her laughs and like, because she's the only one that's not a fucking
assassin. Yeah.
And they goes, yeah, that's
that was never gonna happen.
But also, let me tell you what happens when you throw a bunch of guns and baseball bats into a room of 100 fucking killers and say go, they go.
Right. Yeah, so it's slow and it's a 3-parter, but I really dug it as an adaptation. It's like 10 years old.
I just love the idea of throwing people in just a confined space and going, hey, cool, so I know everything you fucking did. So sit for that for about 48 hours. See what you guys get up to.
You can see this adaptation being like one jump away from After Party. Like, it's not a comedy, but there's moments where like the first guy that dies has a little box of cocaine with a spoon, and they're like, well, we should probably take that off of the body, just, you know, for decorum. It would be embarrassing if that were found out of respect for the... Somebody actually says, out of respect for the dead. And like, well,
awesome.
I'll hold on. I'm the doctor. I'll hold on to it for safekeeping. It's fucking, I was like, yeah, you will. That dude is coked out by the end of the second episode. So dug on that. And then we watched... there's 6 episodes, but they're 2-3-part things. Agatha Christie had a married couple that keeps getting wrangled into bullshit series of novels. Tommy and Tuppence.
You were telling me about this, yes.
And they only got 1 season. I wish they'd get more. I thought these were adorable.
Tommy sounds like a drip.
Tommy's a fucking drip. So I almost couldn't get into it because in the first episode, until she finally looks at someone and who asks, do you have children? And she says, just the one, George. Well, and Tommy. And I was like, okay, at least you know. Because Tommy's goddamn useless. So Tuppence reads a shitload of mystery novels, and Tommy is just constantly like, it's not a fucking murder. You just read a lot of mystery novels. Not everything is sinister. We live in a boring country. Only it's like
what's in the Department Q of like, I know this is strange for a journalist to say, but not everything's a conspiracy.
Right. Only it's like 1950, and the Cold War's just kind of really gotten going and shit, or it's in the 50s.
Sure.
So they're broke in the first 3. They're broke, and Tommy is trying to raise bees and knows nothing about doing it, but has a bunch of hives in their backyard. And as things are going, she's like, "You've got to get a job." His uncle is still in the army or works in intelligence or something, and so he goes to his uncle. He's like, "Is there any work that you can get for me?" And he's like, I've actually been reclassified, old boy. Everyone on the 3rd floor no longer exists. Yeah, we're in something called a Cold War, and so they end up getting roped into this. In the first 3, they get roped into this bullshit because Tuppence fucking does witness a thing, and they keep getting told to not, like, grudgingly, like, fine, go do this, but don't do anything else. And she just keeps getting them into it.
That's actually a fun premise for a show too, of just like, yes, one day because of the Cold War, like a whole floor of people that you knew now, like, just you can see are like, I'm sorry, we don't exist.
And they work in the same office. Like, you know where their office is.
Yeah, right, like,
you just went to your uncle's office.
You just went, like, what do you mean? You're right here. No, we're not. I'm telling you.
Of course, everybody was in the war, so Tommy was also in the war. Only Tommy was injured.
Sure.
He stepped off of the train to, like the train to basic. Like, he got on the train, stepped off the train, got hit by a catering truck. So he knows a bunch of vets who like he's got a friend. He's like, I know exactly the guy. They in the first ones they get an envelope that's ticking, and Tommy's like, I know just the man.
Okay.
And they go to like a boarding school, and his friend who only has one wooden hand, like you would,
Okay.
is like showing kids in a chemistry class. He's a chem teacher showing them how to make a bomb.
Well,
And,
I mean, you don't trust any bomb maker that doesn't have so few.
And so they get him to. It turns out it's just a fucking pocket watch in an envelope that was mailed to them. But that's how they run into this guy, and they rope. He ends up with them through all of the episodes. And about halfway through, he admits that like, oh yeah, I know, I'm also on the third floor payroll. Like you can read me into this. So like they end up roping him in.
Yeah,
it's great. Only weirdly, like the third floor doesn't seem to take him seriously because he's missing a hand. So they bring him in. Like basically, they all keep getting told to quit doing these things, and they just keep doing it. In the second one, Hannah Waddingham plays Blonde Assassin. You want to talk about too much club in the casting department?
God damn.
She's amazing.
If you need a blonde assassin, like that's the cast as blonde assassin. No one plays blonde assassin as good as her, I don't think.
She runs a motherfucker over that they're trying to get information out of, and as he's dying, he says that the spy in the department is, and he either says N or M, but they argue over which letter it is. Is there a American? No, he said M. He did not.
No, M.
He said N.
Damn it.
And so like they're both like, so the spy, do you know anybody? Does M mean anything to you? Well, what about N? And like, well, which was it?
Wait, that implies that there's two. You know what I'm talking about, and there's two options.
Yeah. So anyway, I enjoyed the shit out of both of those. Definitely would recommend. Acorn's got a free week thing, but I would recommend throwing down the fucking $9, $8 for a month of it, and just picking through every conceivable British crime Alfred Hitchcock Presents looking thing they've got. And I've been having a blast just tearing through a bunch of like 40s, 50s crime.
That's so fun.
Yeah. Well, that's
I think I'll watch that adaptation of Then There Were None.
That to me is worth doing. The cast is stacked and it's really fun. Also, Bern Gorman does a couple of accents that are really fun. That's probably going to wrap it up for us this week.
You can do them, that's for sure.
Tune in next week. We're going to jump into Ironheart, I think.
Yeah.
Over on Disney Plus.
Suit up, baby.
So yeah, let's see what's up with Ironheart.
Dude, it has been a minute. I mean, I guess that we had Daredevil Born Again, but that was a weird.
I had not looked at a whole lot about Ironheart, and I saw one of the behind the scenes things on it just a little bit. Kugler is the producer, and man, some of the effects look fucking cool. It looks like she has a real suit. I'm hoping they bust out some money for this.
Yeah, I think they're like, it's weird how it's Ironheart, but they really seem to be connecting it to like Kugler's producing, so they're connecting it more to the. And she was introduced in that last Wakanda movie,
mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if like that will play into effect more since Tony is fucking dead.
They said in the little thing I said that like people keep talking about it as inheriting the mantle of Tony Stark, and that's really not what's happening with her.
It actually kind of makes sense.
That like Tony worked with her and helped her, but she's not the new Iron Man. Mm-hmm. She's not trying to be Tony Stark too.
Well, I do like that. As many problems as that the Black Panther 2 had a little long in the tooth, but I do like that the main force of like the MacGuffin they're after was just made by an MIT kid, and they stole it. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. stole it from her, and like, what do you? No, but that doesn't exist. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, until next time.
TVD zap, bruv.
TVD zap, isn't it?
Show ya.
I look bothered. Bothered.